again, please.
Hello.
Hello.
You are?
I am. All right, so I'm waiting for you. Unless you want me to start asking questions, then you'll be sorry.
So can you tell us a little bit about the start of your career? And you were born in Rio de Janeiro, and then you began modeling as a teenager?
I did. I was born in Rio. My dad was a war hero in World War II, and that's why we work now with military equine assisted therapy. I moved to the States when I was a year old, and so I'm an American. My mother was English. I started working at 15 to buy a horse. That was my passion, and now God's recycled it into this ministry that we do for the military. How many of you have been in the military, or anyone in your family? Thank you for your service. Oh my God, thank you for your service. So I worked for CoverGirl for about 30 years. I'm in the Smithsonian for one of the longest running contracts. And between playing the younger woman in Summer 42, I was 22 years old, and the white hair, everyone thinks I'm 110, but I'm 71, and happy to be here.
So that was quite the start of your career. I mean, Rio Lobo, dovetailing into Summer of 42, that's a huge early role and
Yes.
a major kickstart to your career. Was that a daunting experience at that age?
I have to tell you that I was such a snob. I decided when I was modeling, and I was married at 17, had my daughter at 19, I wanted to study acting. So I went into Neighborhood Playhouse in New York and refused acting jobs until I studied for about a year and a half, the first of which was with John Wayne. And when I say I was a snob, I can't believe that I can say this, but I wanted to work with Al Pacino and the likes of that, actors. And John Wayne was just bigger than life star, but after the experience of working with him, I was so thrilled to have had that time with that gentleman. He was bigger than anything you can think of in a bag of chips, too. He was charming, he was on time, he was easy to work with, he had a lot of young actors around him, he really helped them, he helped me in direction and so forth, so he was a treasure. And then Summer 42 came right after that, which was a completely different kind of role. And that one was something that we all knew actually in the crew. When you work 6 days a week, 14 hours a day, at the last day, Robert Mulligan, the director, opened up the dailies, which you watch every day, to see what happens, and the entire crew at the end of the movie showed up. So I knew we had something special.
I'd like to ask about Lady Ice, which recently got released on DVD and Blu-ray. Donald Sutherland, correct?
Yes.
That was a film that at the time, kind of heist movie, it takes a thief kind of takeoff on that. Got noticed, but now today everybody just, oh, I completely forgot about this film.
Yeah.
What do you remember
It was a
about that?
remake of the roles were reversed, and I replaced another actress in that role. Donald, he was already on board on that film. He's a cad. I wrote my autobiography appropriately titled Surviving Myself, and he and Anthony Quinn were a little difficult to deal with, but I love them all, basically. Robert Duvall is a treasure on earth. When you work with him as an actor, you can't see anything that he's doing, but you go to the rushes and you see that he's magical. Whatever his subtlety is comes across on the screen beautifully. So yeah, that was something that was, I can't remember the gal that I replaced in that one, but Thomas Crown Affair. That's what it was, the reverse of. Anyone ever saw Thomas Crown Affair? So I played the guy role and Donald played the girl role. Wait a minute, that sounds weird. The story was reversed.
Interesting gender reversal.
Yes, exactly.
Art, do
And so shortly after Lady Ice, sure, please. Shortly after Lady Ice, one of the movies that definitely has genre interest here at Chiller Theater, you were in a reincarnation of Peter Proud.
Oh yeah.
And what do you remember about that show?
Huh. It was the only film that I worked with Michael Sarrazin twice. That's the only actor I've ever worked with twice. He did Caravans as well with Anthony Quinn. At that time, I was very into reincarnation, which changed later in my life. So I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was well crafted and a good mystery.
It was, and unlike, well, sort of like Lady Ice and sort of unlike Lady Ice, it too just recently got released. And it's funny, these movies that from the 70s, early 80s period, mid 80s, some have seemed to have been forgotten about. Probably because the dawn of the VHS era, they were available and then
Right.
not. And they didn't hit DVD, didn't get on cable a lot. And now they're being rediscovered.
Exactly.
Which is one of the reasons we brought that movie up, because all of a sudden everybody's reviewing that film or reviewing it for the first time.
I thought it was well-crafted film, but it's, how many of you have your old bell-bottom pants, and then you have your skinny pants, and then it goes back to bell-bottom pants? I think it is the same way with movies. If you got a well-crafted movie, there are just so many stories. In songs, there are only 7 notes, and so you keep rearranging the music of various projects, but they stand up well over time.
Well, and speaking of 7 notes, Murder to the Tune of 7 Black Notes
Yes.
was also recently re-released. Lucio Fulci's The Psychic.
Yes.
And of course, we're all huge Lucio Fulci fans. He had quite the reputation when it came to how he would treat actors
Horribly.
and actresses. And
Horribly.
did you have any experiences along those lines?
He was I'm about to direct my first feature film with Kathy Lee Gifford producing, and so I understand that the difference of the way directors approach a film. Lucio actually shot in his head what he had already cut. So as an actress, the whole movie was a terrifying movie of struggle. And he would shoot, he never did a master shot. He would shoot little snippets. So all day I was trying to elevate. You usually do a master shot, you set the stage, then you can do a 2-shot and a close-up and perhaps